Hi, Tim Munkert here, and we're going to be finishing up this landing page we've been building with Tailwind CSS in this video here. Okay, so we've created the nav bar in part 1. Part 2, we created the hero. Part 3, we created these two middle sections. And in part 4, we're looking at this finished project here. We're going to create the form and the footer, and hopefully in this video we will also close this. We will also purge the CSS that we don't need to use, and we're going to go to the config file to do that. Okay, so let's finish this up though first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, all right, so we're going to create the contact section. So I'm going to begin the contact section here. Just making a note. I like to make notes of this stuff. And then we're going to have a div with an ID of contact and a class with background of dark gray, which is a class that I defined up above. We're going to have a div with a class of container, margin X auto, so that's going to center it. We're going to have a max width screen of extra large, pixels, padding on the x-axis of 8, padding on the y-axis 12, so that's like 2 rem on the x and might be 3 rem on the y, but there is, I played with this stuff earlier today and got it what I want, so there are a ton of stuff. Just look at the documentation. Form action, we're going to leave that blank. Again, this is not going to be a functional form. Method is post. We need to do some back-end stuff for that, like PHP. And hook it to a database, but we're not doing that in this video. This is more just for presentational stuff. So this form is going to have a class of container. It's going to be centered. That's why we're doing the MX auto. Once we break above small screens, we're going to have a width of 1/2. Background is going to be this light LBJ color. That's the thing I defined. Padding on the x-axis of 4. Padding on the y-axis 4, those are like 2 rems a piece. Padding on the bottom of 12. We're going to have rounded corners. We're going to have flex. We're going to justify stuff in the center. And we're going to have a flex direction of column. So that's flex col. That's how you do it in Tailwind CSS. Okay. Then below that, we're going to have H3 with a class of MX Auto. So we're going to center it that way. I think I actually went to center it that way, but I might have left in that class. But anyways, padding on the X and the Y axis of 4. Text size is going to be 3XL. Dark gray. And then I did text center. Okay, that's actually what centered it. We're going to say something like contact us, because this is a contact form. Below that, we're going to have a label for, it's going to be full name. And the class on the label is going to be text, extra large, text, center, dark gray, text, padding on the y-axis 2, and we're going to say something like enter. Oops, enter your full name, and we're going to close out the label, and then we're going to have an input with a type equal to text. The ID is going to be full name. The name is going to be full name. Now you don't want to use name equals name. That's actually deprecated, so don't do that. Padding all around of 2, dark gray with full. Once we break above small screens, the width is going to go to 1/2. Okay, so on the real small screens, I want the input to go all the way across, but on the larger screens, I don't. Okay, and then we're going to center it MX Auto. Okay. Now, in this one, I cheated a little bit because there wasn't a style for the outline that was really working the way I wanted it to. So I did an inline style where I said that the outline was 1 pixel solid with RGBA colors of 0, 0, 0, oops, 0.5 for the opacity, and I'm going to make this field required. So you do have to put your name in if you're going to submit the contact form. Okay, so that's the label and the input, and what I'm going to do is go and yank this and go here, and then, oops, if I can type, paste that in. And next one's going to be labeled for email. And we're going to say something like enter email or something, or just email. I think I just said email. Wow, I am jumping all over here tonight. Actually, let me just do it how I said it. So, getting a little tired. Okay, so email. Let me take a look with that. I think I put padding 2. I still had padding 2. Yeah, I think I had that one pretty much the same. Okay, so go here, and I'm going to yank this stuff and then paste it here. But we're going to have a text area. So we're going to have a label for a message. And let's see. So the text is going to be extra large, text center, dark gray, padding Y of 4. But then, oh, yeah, I added to this one and the one above, I added padding top of 4. So padding Y of 2, padding top of 4. Okay, so I added that to this one. Yeah. And that just helps to space it out because they were getting a little too close together. And this is we're going to put in here something like, what am I doing? Message, and make that optional. I'm jumping my cursor around a little bit because I'm actually getting a little tired. It's late at night, and I keep forgetting to go into insert mode. All right, so next up, we're going to have a text area, and I'm going to use Emmet to just kind of expand this out. The ID is going to be message. Okay, the name is going to be message. Then this next part, we are going to get rid of this stuff because we're going to handle this with Tailwind Classes. So within that, we're going to have a bunch of classes. So smaller screens, width is going to be full. Then when we break to larger screens, the width is going to be 3/4 of the screen. Height is going to be 40. And then we're going to use MX-Auto to kind of help to center it. We're going to do a little cheat here with the style. The outline is going to be 1 pixel solid. Let me see what I put. Oh yeah, and then I did my RGBA. So then 0, 0, like I did above, 0.5. Okay, so yeah, I did a little bit of stuff there. So that's my text area. And all right, so then we'll go to the end of this. And below the text area, we're going to have a button with a class, a bunch of classes. So we're going to have a background of light blue, padding on the x-axis of 8, padding on the y-axis of 4. It's going to be rounded, margin on the top of 4. That's going to move it down a little bit. Once we break above small screens, the width is going to go to 1/4 the screen. MX auto to center it. LBJ for light text, uppercase text. So you can see where it gets a little crazy with the amount of classes. Text, LG. When we hover over the button, this is something you can do with Tailwind. You can define when you hover. So I'm going to do a background, and I'm going to use one of their color classes, BG Blue 600. So that's going to give it a light blue when we hover. Type of the button is going to be submit. And we're going to say something like submit. And then we're going to close out the button text. Okay. And then we're then going to close out our form. And then we're going to close out our div and close out the last div. Okay, and let's take a look at that. So this is a completed project. I'm going to go here, refresh, and we've got that nice looking form. Okay, and then when we go to smaller screens, notice that we've got everything stacking. Go to smaller screens, these expand out more fully, right? But then when we go back to the larger screen, you'll see that these are half of this form container for these two, and then this one is 3/4, like we defined. Okay. Last part we need to work on is the footer before we need to purge some of the additional, 183,000 lines of CSS code. Okay, so we're going to end the contact section here. Okay, and we're going to begin the footer. So yeah, there are a ton of classes. It's quite amazing. We're going to have a div with an ID of footer. Class, I'm going to do that class that I made background, light blue. Okay, within that, we're going to have a div with a class of container, MX of auto. So we're going to center on the x-axis, max width, screen is going to be extra large. I'm doing this, probably didn't need all this stuff. Padding on the x-axis of 8, probably didn't need that, but padding on the y-axis 12, that's going to give me something that I could use. Then I have a paragraph with the class LBJ, that's that light text. Text is going to be small, so I want small text, and then text is going to be center. And then within there, we're going to say something like copyright, copy 2021, that copyright symbol. So 2021, Tim Web Design. This is our fake web design agency. So all rights reserved. Period. Close out our paragraph. Close out both of our divs, and then we're going to make a note. This is the end of the footer. Okay, let's save it and let's take a look. Okay, so now we have our nice little footer done. Okay, so we've got our page done. It's pretty nice, but there's one little bit of a problem. So if we go into our public folder and go to our Tailwind CSS file, go down to the bottom, we see that 188, I think it says 188,036 lines. So we want to get that down. Okay, and we're going to get it down to, I think, a little under 1,000. And there's a way we can do that. So I'm going to just Google Tailwind purge. Okay, and see this link, optimizing for production. And so we scroll down here. It gives you some notes about writing purgeable HTML. And we want to enable this manually. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here and go to the config file. Okay, and we're going to go to where it says purge, but I'm going, whoops, what am I doing? I've been saying that a lot. What am I doing? Okay, so above here, we want to say enabled and true with a comma, and then here we want to have the content, and within the content, we want to give the file or files that we want to look through. So I'm going to give it the public folder, and I'm just going to put star.html. So it's going to look through everything in the public folder there and take it out. And then we also need to close this and put a comma here. And I'm going to save that, the purge file. Okay. And then I'm going to open up a terminal, go here, and I'm going to run this again. Okay, and we'll wait. Okay, all right, so that's done. Let's exit out of this, and I'm going to go back and take a look at my Tailwind CSS, Shift-G to go to the bottom, and you notice when I go to the bottom, we go down to my last line is 910. Not 188,036. Okay, so I have gotten rid of 187 plus thousand lines of code in my CSS file and made it very small. So that's great. And actually, let's take a look. I think it was something like, you know, I was reading somewhere in the documentation, the original file is like 3.5 megabytes or something like that for a CSS file, which is a lot. But keep it in perspective, that's a really large bunch of images. I don't want to go there. I'm going to the wrong place. So Tailwind CSS, okay, 14 kilobytes. We have gotten it down from, you know, something like over 3 megabytes to 14 kilobytes by just running that simple command. So that concludes this tutorial on using Tailwind CSS. There's a ton of stuff to explore. I just probably scratched the surface. It's pretty cool. But yeah, take a look at it, build some stuff with it, explore the documents yourself. And if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and you know, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.